Gnothi Seuton, love, peace, blessing, all manner of health, healing, goodness, every single wonderful thing, happiness, abundance, prosperity, um, just everything good that you can imagine and more unto you and your family. Something good is going to happen to you today. Gnothi Seuton. And today I wanted to ask the question, what is your body for? I mean, what's it for? I mean, most people recognize that they have a spiritual part of themselves, or if they don't like spiritual part, maybe an intellectual part, a soulish part. Some people don't like soulish part, but a part of you that is not your body. And it's very, very obvious. And of course, the arguments can go many different directions, but you recognize that, the body is pretty much a tool or a vehicle in the highest sense of the word. I'm sorry. It's not to make it sound like it's just some, base thing and, like some old teachings that it's that it's evil and, progress to the place where, it's sinful, in the flesh. And we always have to remember that meanings of words change over time. And so what someone may have described as the flesh in the past may simply be, toxic programming, toxic ego programming, which we know that is evil against yourself. I mean, if you have toxic practices that are, just simply not healthy, they're toxic to you, they're going to hurt you, they're going to harm you. And to you, is that evil? Yeah. To the rest of the world, because we're connected, but most of all to you. And so over time, meaning can change. And what is the body for? That's something that we all have to examine for ourselves. Remember, that's the point. Gnothi Seuton, know yourself. Know yourself. Know what it is that is causing reactions in you, actions in you. And when you become aware of that, you become aware of your input. And when you become aware of your input, then you can change the outcome. And that's so very powerful. So I'd like to kind of just point out that now in our age and in our time, the body really has become part of a machine. And while, of course, the body is mechanical, I firmly believe that its original intention was not to be a part of a machine. But ever since the Industrial Revolution, humans have been becoming more and more machine-like. And we take it to the extreme. I read a report, I can't remember if it was in Popular Mechanics or if it was in one of the health magazines, I forget which one it was, but about that we're, less than 20 years away from the singularity. And what's the singularity? The singularity is fusing AI consciousness with human consciousness. In other words, it's a cyborg existence, and it's wow. I mean, just look at all the portrayals and all of the expectancies and everything that's been put before us in the form of entertainment. When it comes to cyborgs, it's they always start out as something that helps the person, and then before you know it, the cyborg is completely controlled by AI. And it's just is it inevitable? Maybe in some realities. So right now, for a lot of and a huge majority of the human population, the body has become a part of a machine instead of being like a bird or some type of wild animal that wakes up based on instincts, goes out and sees what Mother Nature put on the buffet today, enjoy that, and then after your belly is full, you sit down and relax and observe and see what's going on and recognize the times and recognize the seasons. Now, we're as a human species, we're waking up to an unnatural sound. It has to be so annoying because most people are so exhausted that if it isn't a loud, annoying sound, we won't wake up on time. And so we're forced to wake up when we're not ready to in an unnatural way. Thank you for letting me out, wonderful person. So we're forced to wake up in a natural way and, not just ease ourselves into the day and, eat an organic breakfast. Most people are, forced through, stress and anxiety to rush and pour as many stimulants down your throat as you can as you have time to, and stuff who knows what we want to call it, ersatz food, if anyone's familiar with the term ersatz, or we could say a type of food thing that has no nutritional value pretty much whatsoever into your body, and then rush off. And a lot of people rush off to a place that they just really don't like, to be around people that mostly some people just really don't like, spend the day doing something that they don't like, and voila, you have the perfect formula to taking this body and turning it into a machine. And what eventually happens with machines, they wear out. And when you couple that together with so much misinformation about health, if you just, if anyone who hasn't looked into, recent studies and findings and understandings, maybe they're not so recent, but maybe they're just not spun in a way that they were, previously. But just simply look at the topic of cholesterol, not from a drug advertisement or, a drug commercial, or I don't even know if you do see many cholesterol commercials anymore. Isn't that suspicious? Isn't it suspicious that we have, an almost in vogue disease that, seems to have a shelf life, and then we end up being shuffled along into the next one. So when you couple together, we're using the body or misusing the body in a wrong machine type format, couple that together with what we're putting in the body to maintain it, and then when you couple that together with our mind, our brain, there's been so much incredible research released recently about the brain, and the brain has different parts, and this is really, really interesting to note. There's the reptilian brain, there's the amphibian brain, and there's the mammal brain, and of course we have the neocortex, the new brain, all these different parts of the brain. And for some really, really interesting research, Santiago, I can't remember his last name, but if you just Google the brain as the Holy of Holies, there's an Italian gentleman, his first name is Santiago, I can't remember his last name, but he has been doing research about this for quite some time, quite a few YouTube videos, where he shows that the brain and the symbolism of the Holy of Holies in Leviticus in the scriptures absolutely, looks like it's telling us about the brain itself and our physical brain, and our physical brain being our Holy of Holies, and the Holy of Holies. So that's really cool. But all of the research that has been, released recently about the brain, and the reptilian brain it's all about survival. It seems like the amphibious brain is a little less about survival, but not much. And then we have the mammal brain, the mammalian brain, which is it's different, and it works different, and it creates different chemistry in our body. And so when we go from the mammalian brain down to the reptilian brain, live in survival, and be literally start becoming cold-blooded, being in a climate-controlled environment where our temperature rarely changes that much, and then next thing you know, our reptilian-like habits and performance and activities and responses and attitudes, make it very, very palatable to accept a type of mechanical alternative. And it's really, really interesting to note, because while we have so much seemingly going in the wrong direction, we always have to recognize that we still have everything that we could choose to go in the right direction for ourselves, for our own well-being, for our own health, for our own goodness. And again, to Gnothi Seutan, know ourselves, know that we are the alchemists, know that we can make the right choices, and that the original purpose is still here. It's just that the vast majority has been influenced to a system-serving purpose, to a system-serving, and you can take that as far as you want to go. Secret societies, all different types of things involved, creating this influence. But again, Gnothi Seutan, know yourself, find out for yourself, do your own research, and recognize what is helpful to you, what is helping you. Eckhart Tolle is so brilliant with the way he explains the difference between our experience created mind, the mind that we have based on our life experience, and our true self, our true source, our true watcher, who watches that mind and recognizes that you are not that mind. And when you're in a situation where, again, you're waking up when you're not ready to a sound that is not natural, and you're rushing off to a place you don't want to go, to be with people you don't want to be with, but you still have to walk that out for a little bit. You still have to pay the bills. You still have to create savings, or maybe start an entrepreneurial endeavor to help yourself start to generate wealth and create wealth for yourself, so you don't have to do this. The way to put your mindset in a place where it's not so stressful, it's not so heavy, is to tell yourself, this is a spiritual practice. I'm turning this into my spiritual practice. I'm going to practice spiritual awareness, and I'm going to be open to everything that just simply seems to come to me in a higher fashion, in a way that is, it's supernatural. It's not the normal way. It's not the normal influence. It's not the media. It's not commercials giving me influence and, trying to point me and push me in a certain direction, but just supernatural things, just things that we recognize, things that we hear, just YouTube videos that we just find ourselves watching, information we find ourselves reading, things that we hear people talk about and recommend, and we incorporate that into our own path. We take a look at it for ourselves. We do our own research. We look into the information ourselves without any preconceived ideas. And then we start to practice true alchemy. We start to recognize that there are certain practices, there are certain influences, there are certain thoughts, feelings, and most of all emotions that do change who we are. They change our chemistry. They can even change our DNA, or mutate our DNA. Look out and be on the aware of RNA influence injections, any type of RNA source that you are considering applying to your chemistry, and recognize that there are alternatives, and usually they are time-tested practices that were practiced by our ancestors, by the ancients, and unlike pharmaceuticals, synthetic substances, natural substances do not have side effects, where all pharmaceuticals and synthetic substances and gene mutating substances do. They have side effects. And again, they're going to take what your body was meant for and turn it into something else. And, more and more through a slave mind, slave mentality, into a slave existence, fight or flight, stressful experience that is certainly not your authentic self. So with that, Gnothi Seuton, love, peace, blessing, something good is going to happen to you today. Namaste.